Hey, what is going on, guys? We are here in the Obsessed Home Theater Lab. We just got some new theater seats. Valencia was kind enough to send out the slim version. I've never reviewed any of the slim version, so I'm curious to see what they look like, how much difference they're going to measure compared to the Barcelonas. So we're here in the lab. We got the Barcelonas here, the slim version. My favorite model of all the models that I've reviewed. I've done the Oslo, I've done a bunch of different Tuscany models, the Tuscany Originals, the Tuscany Ultimate Luxury, and now these are called the Tuscany 2025 models, and these are the slim, so this will be a new model for me. I've done the Monzas, Barcelonas. These are my favorite. I just like the way they look. I like the way they feel. And in this video, we're gonna get them unboxed. I'll show you how to set them up. We'll talk about all the features, but I also want to look and show you some of the differences between the Barcelona and the Tuscanys so that you can kind of figure out what's a better fit for you. There are definitely some differences. So we're gonna get these unboxed. We're only gonna do one of these. We'll get it set up and we won't bore you in unboxing each one of these. So let's get them started here. So when you're bringing these in by yourself, it definitely helps if you got a second hand, but I'm gonna show you it's really not difficult at all. You're gonna flip it upside down. All right, so one thing you don't want to do is cut into this. So if you can rip it, that's great. But if you're going to use like a box cutter or a knife, just be real careful. The last thing you want to do is cut into your theater seats. Now these come in two parts. So you're going to have the back. So I'll lay that off to the side. And then we've got the main chair here. Ooh, that's different. Check that out in a second. All right, so now what we want to do is get the seat back. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna spin this around. We'll get a close-up. I'll show you exactly how these line up. But basically, on the back of this, there's gonna be a little metal groove. We're just gonna line those up and they're gonna lock onto this. And then we'll connect the two cables. Pick the chair up. Just line that just like that. I'm gonna line the other side as well. And then you're gonna push down until you hear two clicks. Just like that. And give it a little snug just to make sure it doesn't come up. And then now, you can see we got color coordinated down here. One has a little red marking there. They only can go one way, one's small and one's wider. So you slide those in, and then take this little clip here, lock it shut. Do the same thing with this one. And that's all you need. And on this side over here, a little Velcro, and that's our power cord. And then to tidy it up, this right here just has Velcro. You can kind of push this out of the way. Just bring this all the way down. Just like that. Now when you're setting up your theater seats in your room, what I would do is figure out where you need these to be positioned, because what I found over the years, once you attach 2 or 3 or 4 seats together, it's really difficult to slide these left or right in your room because they're heavy. But number 2, the bottom of them have rubber feet, and so that's going to cause friction on your carpet. So let's just say, for example, I know that I need 3 feet from this wall and 3 feet from that wall. You can go to Valencia's website or look in the description here of the width of these seats or the seats that you're looking at purchasing. Figure out where that needs to be. And so let's say it was 3 feet from here, measure to the edge of this and go ahead and position the double seat. The way that these will connect together is the double seat, the double armrest will be here. And then as you can see, this one is going to slide into place. This has just one armrest and this will come over here, slide into it, and then your third seat will do the same. The way that these attach, under here, there's these little, I'm gonna lean it up so you can kind of see. So these little clips right here, this little triangle. So down here you can see you've got these little pieces. So just swing these out. And then that little triangle piece, they're gonna line up here and then they're gonna ratchet kind of into here. It's gonna be kind of difficult for you guys to see, but we'll do our best to show you. So you're just gonna simply line it up, get my chair straight, All right, so this is the part you won't be able to see, but just reach your hand down here, figure out where that little triangle is. I'm gonna line it up. And once you get them together, I'm just gonna take my legs and just kind of push up against it. You'll hear some clicks. Hear that? Same thing with the back side. And you just wanna push those all the way together. Just like that. So one thing that you may have to do, we had to do it with this, is this notch, it was up just a little too high, so it was catching the side of the seat. So to make sure that it goes underneath these brackets, you might just need to push down just a little bit, get it underneath that bracket, and then you can push them in and lock them together. So we'll get this third one locked together and we'll go over the features of these seats. All right, so let's take a look at the controls. The first two controls, if you push down, is gonna be your recline. So in a moment, I want to take a measurement because I want to show you exactly how far you're going to need from the front of your seats if you're building, especially 2 rows of seating. I think that's something, I haven't seen anybody cover that. But the first one is your recline. Second button, you're going to press down and that's going to engage your lumbar. And then the third one is going to be your headrest. So what's nice about the headrest, I love how Valencia has done this, and a lot of brands are doing this. So when you're reclined, one thing that's gonna happen is your head is going to naturally, and your eyes are gonna be looking at your ceiling. So by being able to adjust this so that your eyes are pointed directly at your screen or your TV is a great thing. The last couple items here, we've got USB-A as well as USB-C. One thing I was curious about these seats, some of the seats I've reviewed in the past from Valencia, when you recline, the edge of the seat hides this area. So I'm grateful to see that all of these are still exposed. Even if I extend it all the way out, you can see it does cover this just a little bit, but because they moved the USB ports from the front to the back, you can see we don't have any obstruction there, which I think that's a good thing. So the last part right here is your LED lighting. If you hit it once, you're going to illuminate the cup holders right here. And then you're also going to have illumination down here on the bottom. Now, one thing I've shared with Valencia over and over and over the past 5 years is when you have the LED lights on and you recline, what's gonna happen is you're gonna notice right here, imagine this is your TV or your screen. You can see this is going to shine all the way on your screen. Valencia, I would love it. Listen to me, guys. I would love it if you would add some kind of shield over the front of that LED light so that it just hides it. I don't know how best to do that, or maybe take the LED light and point it down towards the ground, because us enthusiasts, we don't want the light shining on our screen. Some of you may want to use the LED lighting while you're watching sports or while you're watching, or maybe playing video games, but you don't want that light shining on your screen. So Valencia, if you could figure out that, that would be super helpful to the consumers. But the good thing, once you're watching a movie, you just click it once and the lights go off. Now, if you want to change the colors, what you're gonna need to do is press it once and press and hold it for about 3 seconds. So you'll see it's gonna change. I think there's about 7 different colors: white, blue, red. There's a purple and a green, yellow. So a bunch of different colors there. That's more like, I guess, a cyan color. So again, if you want them on, you can turn them on. If you want to change the colors, you can change them. And then if you want to turn them off, just hit the button once. All right, so if we lift up the armrest here, just got some foam. So right now, at least at the time of this video, Valencia is including tray tables, which is super cool. I think these run about 80 bucks on their website. So here's the tray table here. It has a carbon fiber look. It's not full carbon fiber. It's made out of plastic. So on the bottom, there's a little wrench and a little aluminum piece. All you gotta do is take that, screw it in. You can take this little wrench, just put it right in there, tighten it down, like that. So one thing, this depends on you. I like taking these off. This is just a protective cover. So you just lift that up, toss that. And so this can accommodate a lot of things. Valencia has the tray tables. They've got, actually I've got one up here. I'll show you this. They've got these little holders. Right now we've got an SPL meter in there, but you can put a tablet in there, you can put a phone. They rotate. But the most useful one to me is the tray table. Just slides in, just like that. Now, as you can see here, you're gonna need to have this positioned somewhere other than there to be able to open this up. But there is swivel tray table. So if we take a look inside this, this is a little bit different design. So they include these little pads here, just double-sided adhesive. So you're gonna peel that off. And you're gonna lay this right in the bottom, just like that. And that way you've got some padding in the bottom there. And as you can see, we've already got fingerprints on this, so that's one thing that you'll just kind of have to keep clean. But man, once it's polished up, I really like that black chrome. So I mentioned to you earlier about these are narrow seats. These are called the Slim model, the Tuscany 2025. So what we did is we aligned the left side of these seats with the Barcelonas. So now let's walk over to the other end and see. So we've got considerable, so we're talking right at about 8 inches narrower for the Tuscany Slim 2025 than the Barcelona. And so it just gives you an idea. Again, where the trade-off is, the Barcelonas do not have a console. So now let's actually see how wide this is. So I'm gonna measure from right there. And we'll verify this on their website, but I'm measuring pretty close to 89 inches in width. And so that gives you an idea. And then let's compare that to, so 89 versus like almost 98. So I guess about 97 and a half really. So yeah, about 8.5 inches. Now another thing I want to measure, something I've never seen anybody talk about, is when you're reclining these seats. And so, as I mentioned to you, if you have multiple rows of seating, you want to be able to have the ability when this is reclined. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to sit down and I'm going to recline to kind of how I would normally watch a movie. Because you're not typically going to be laying all the way back. So this is about where I'm at. But as you can see, if I'm this distance, somebody that's in the other seat cannot get beside, in front of there. I'd have to kind of tuck my feet up and even walk in between this. I mean, you can get through here, but that's not a lot of room. So depending on how deep your room is going to maybe limit that. But just to give you an idea, at a normal recline, the very front part of this to there, about 21 inches. And so just think about that. The front of your seats, 21 inches is going to be the front at a normal extension. But again, we can probably go out another, that's probably another 4 inches. So, and again, unless you're like taking a nap, you're probably not gonna be doing that, but a normal position is gonna be about, probably somewhere about right there. And so if you had positioned this from the rear of that seat to the front of this, that's 31 inches. Just shows you're only gonna have about 10 and a half inches from here to here. So hopefully that helps you when you're thinking about where should I put these? How far should I put them? In my theater room, I just didn't have enough depth in my room. So unfortunately, when I extend this, it's literally almost touching the back of the seats. It's not ideal, but it's what I had to work with, but I thought that would be super helpful to you guys. So I went ahead and took one of the acoustic panels off our wall because I want to take a look and see how much these hug the wall. These are called like wall huggers or something to that effect. But basically what it means is these aren't going to extend too far back. What that allows you to do is get them closer to your wall. So here you can imagine if this was your wall, we're going to extend this down. I'm actually going to sit down and I'm going to put it at about where I would normally watch a movie. Now again, I'm not going to recline this all the way, but I'm usually about right here. So with that, okay, I can already see we haven't even touched it. If we touched it, it's barely touching. You're talking 1/2 inch. So the only time is if you have a guest and they're going to want to lay it further back, or if you decide to take a nap. So let's at least go all the way back. Let's see if we can get a rough idea measurement wise. So we're talking about, let's just say safely 4.5 inches. So fully extended, you're going to need 4.5 inches away from your wall. Now again, that's this part here, because when I raise it up, so with this in the fully upright position, you'll want to measure from here, not from down here, because this down here is going to be, there's several inches, probably about, what? Probably about six or 7 inches from the edge of this seat to the back of your seat rest. So this is where you're going to want to measure from, but hopefully that gives you an idea of how close you can put them to the wall. So with the Tuscany Slim 2025, we've got 11,000 Nappa leather. Let me just see if we can kind of show you what that looks like. You'll be able to see the grain here, or at least the pattern, the texture. So this isn't quite as smooth. It's still soft leather, but you're just going to be able to see those, that rough texture there. Now compare that with the 20,000 Nappa leather. You can see this is super smooth. You don't see any texture at all. So when you rub your hand this way, that's when it feels softer. The difference is, number one, this is a matte black, and this back here is going to be really like a gloss finish. So this will be a little bit shiny. Those up there will have like a dull black finish. The other difference though is with this is much easier to keep clean. As you can see, I'm touching it. I don't see any kind of oil or residue. What I have seen with my 20,000 Nappa leather, the Valencia Tuscany Ultimate Luxury, is you're going to see some pieces, and even looking here, I can see some little bitty spots there. I don't know if you can catch it on camera. It's like a little something there. So you're just gonna need to clean these with a leather cleaner a lot more times than you would on something like this that has the 11,000 Nappa leather. So that it's got the same diamond stitching here as the Tuscany Ultimate Luxury. So if you don't need the memory preset, which will allow you to recline, get it into position, save that as a preset. So you hit one button, it reclines, headrest, lumbar in a certain position. And if you don't need the additional softer, smoother leather, or maybe you don't want the matte black and you prefer the gloss, then this would be the way to go as well. So another thing I mentioned earlier is, since we have these in the same room, I wanted to be able to physically see some of the differences between the Barcelona and the Tuscany series. Of course, the Tuscany series, the biggest thing to me is you've got storage space. If you have remotes, if you have your tray tables, you got a place to put that. With the Barcelonas, you don't have that ability. So these are just flat. There's no storage on these. The Tuscanys, to me, are way more comfortable than this. By that, what I mean is just the way that this is designed, just this nice plush right here. You can see how this is kind of bubbled. This is just very, very comfortable. See how that has a good amount of push to it versus this is pretty flat. So these aren't the most comfortable, but the reason why we went with these in the lab is because most of our stuff in here is testing. We want to use the lab to be able to test different speaker configurations. So we wanted some good seating, but we did not want the headrest. So that's going to block some of the sound. Of course, you can recline it and lift up the headrest. So that actually brings me to a good point. Some people suggest that, they don't like theater seating like this that has the high, headrest. Here's my take on that. I have no problem with that because typically I'm never sitting straight up watching a movie. I'm always in a reclined position, kind of like this. I've always got my headrest probably about right there. And so my speakers, even these, you can see none of that is being obstructed by this headrest. Even my rear surrounds, they're totally fine. And in my room, I've got the surrounds mounted a little bit higher. And because they're JTR Noesis 110 slants, they're at an angle. And so they're already angled down towards my listening position. So again, in my setup, this works out perfectly great. But these, truthfully, I like the way these feel so much better than the Barcelona. Great seats, but to me, I just love the cushiness of this and this back, and then the bottom part where my bottom is, my legs are. To me, it's just way more comfortable. It's just got a nice, I think I'm just gonna take a nap, man. This is good. So now let's go ahead and head over to the computer. I wanna show you some different configurations that you can have with the Tuscany 25 Slim, as far as 2 seats, 3 seats. There's some other options, whether you wanna do a couch and individual seats like this, and then we'll also cover pricing at the time of this video. So here we are on the Valencia theater seating. There's a couple of ways you can find the Tuscany series. Number one, of course, you could just search for the Slim, which is what we have, or you can come here to the theater seating option. There's even a collection for Tuscany. So I'm going to go that route just to show you a couple options. So of course, there's a bunch of different configurations with the Tuscany. You've got the ultimate heat and ventilation, which is what I have in my theater room. You've got the higher end leather, which is the Tuscany Ultimate 2025. Then you've got the Tuscany Ultimate 2025 Slim model, which we don't have. We have the regular Tuscany. So we're just going to scroll down here. A lot of other options, so definitely take a look at those. But the one we're looking for is right here, the Tuscany Slim 2025. So inside here, you can see you can configure it to 2 seats. You've got 2 seats without a middle armrest. You could do 3 seats, which is what we have. You could do 1 seat and then a couch section for 2 of those seats. And again, you can just configure this however you want. You can see here, these 2 middle seats would not have an armrest. So it really just depends on what type of style you're looking for. And here you can see the pricing for those. But the way that the seats are designed, you can make these as wide as you want, because one of those seats will have a double armrest and the rest will just attach to that one. So if we come back here to the 3-seat configuration, you see here we've got the midnight black. Down here's the dimensions. So we've got 90 inches by 43.5 inches high and then 40 inches deep. Now, if you want a different color other than the midnight black, you'll need to not do the Slim version. So here you can see down at the bottom, there's an opportunity to click on the regular standard Tuscany 2025. Here you can see there's a couple options. You got the midnight black, you've got a dark chocolate, charcoal gray, there's a navy blue, as well as a cognac. Now, more than likely, if I go back up here, go into the Tuscany collection, I bet if I go under, yeah, so the Tuscany Ultimate 2025, you can see here, you've got those color options, but just in the Slim and the Slim Ultimate, you're only going to have the one color option. So it really just depends on what your needs are and what aesthetic you're going for. Now, because these are the Slim model, I'm 5'11", about 185 pounds. And so you can see I've still got, you know, at least 2 to 3 inches on each side of me. Well, my waist, I've got probably almost 4 inches, but at least my legs, comfortably, I've got several inches here. Of course, they sell an extra large, so if you want something wider and taller, they've got those models as well. But if you're constrained on the width, or you just want something just really slim and sleek, this is the model for you. As I've shared with you guys all throughout probably the past 5 years, the Tuscany series has always been my favorite. I love the feature set. I love how soft it is. The main difference is a lot of it's going to come down to your budget. If your budget is lower, then the Tuscany, something like the Slim 2025, is going to be great for that. If you have a higher budget and you want some of the features like the memory preset and you want the softer 20,000 Nappa leather, it's going to cost you quite a bit more, but they do have those options as well. And then like in my theater seats at home, I have the Tuscany Ultimate Luxury Heat and Ventilation. So they've added heating to the seats as well as cooling to the seats. So there's a lot of different features, a lot of different styles, a lot of different configurations. They pretty much sell it all. So if you're in need of some theater seats for your room, reach out to me, youthman@obsessedhometheater.com. I'd love to have a conversation with you. We're authorized dealers for Valencia. We just don't have them added to the website yet, partly because there's just so many different configurations. So let's have a conversation, see what seats work best for you. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll leave links in the description below, so be sure to check those out. Hope you have an incredible week. God bless, and I'll catch you in the next video.